Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to Indian Kitchen Abroad. This week we're going to make a vegetarian dish, or you can even call it vegan. Aloo Gobi, potatoes and cauliflower. You'll find this in almost every Indian restaurant in the United States. It's a very simple dish. I'm going to boil the vegetables for this. You'll find many versions of this with deep fried potatoes and cauliflower. You can do that if you want, but the lightness you get from the boiled vegetables, I think that's what I want. And I'm going to boil the vegetables separately and cook the sauce separately. If you cook the vegetables along with the sauce, to get that perfectly boiled vegetables, you have to add more water to the sauce. And by adding more water, the whole consistency of the dish is going to be off. And again, to get that right consistency, you have to cook out all that extra water. In that process, you'll overcook the vegetables. And that's the reason I'm going to boil the vegetables separately and cook the sauce separately. And then I'm going to bring both of them together at the end. Let's do this. To start with, peel the skin of 3 potatoes and cut them into 1-inch cubes. Or you can cut them however you want. You can cut them into the shape of French fries as well if you want. Only thing you have to keep in mind is don't cut them too small. Otherwise they'll be overcooked and the texture is not going to be that pleasant to eat. I've got a pot of water boiling in the background. Add a tablespoon of salt and a pinch of turmeric powder to the water and boil the potatoes in that water until they are fork tender. Generally it takes about 10 to 12 minutes for 3 regular sized potatoes, but that depends on the intensity of your heat. Just boil them until they are fork tender. Salt seasons the potatoes from the inside and turmeric powder gives a vibrant yellow color. And while the potatoes are boiling, you can cut this cauliflower into florets. We have done this before, it's very easy. Pick out the leaves, twist the stem couple of times, it comes right off, and you'll see this network of branches connecting the florets. Simply disconnect the branches to get florets. Try to cut these also into the same size as the potatoes. But how much ever you try, you'll be left with tiny pieces of cauliflower. These go into the boiling water at the last minute. Save them. Usually I would cut this cauliflower in 5 minutes and add it to the already boiling potatoes. That way, both the vegetables would be done at the same time with perfect texture. But there was a lot going on that day and it took me about 15 minutes to cut this cauliflower. And by that time, potatoes are done. So I took them out and spread them on a baking sheet and boiled the cauliflower for 5 to 7 minutes in the salted water along with a pinch of turmeric powder, just like before. Added the tiny cauliflower pieces at the last minute. They take just 2 minutes to cook. If you add them along with the other pieces, they're going to be overcooked. Once they are boiled, spread them on a baking sheet and let them cool down for a minute. You don't have to let them cool down, but I was doing this very leisurely and boiled the vegetables before, so they're just chilling. And I ate all the tiny cauliflower pieces. Now finely chop 1 medium-sized onion and green chilies if you have them. I like finely chopped onions for this. When they are cooked, they almost disappear in the sauce, which I like. But you can cut them into medium size or even just slice them if you want. And I made some tomato puree as well, off the camera. Just blended the tomatoes. I'm going to use only half of that puree. Now heat a tablespoon of oil in a pan and add a teaspoon of cumin seeds. When they start sizzling, add the onions and saute until they become translucent with a pinch of salt. At this stage, add a tablespoon of ginger and garlic paste and continue sauteing until the onions become brown. When you add ginger and garlic paste, it's going to stick to the bottom of pan. Whenever that happens, add a splash of water and continue sauteing. When the onions become brown, saute a tablespoon of tomato paste for a minute and add the spice powders. A teaspoon of turmeric powder, a tablespoon of coriander powder, and red chili powder according to your taste. Toast them for a few seconds and add a splash of water so you don't burn the spice powders. Cook that for a minute and add the tomato puree. I'm using about 8 ounces of puree for this. Cook that for 4 to 5 minutes until the oil floats on surface. Now this is where you need to adjust all the seasonings. Taste it, add the salt according to your taste, a teaspoon of dried mango powder or aamchur and garam masala. It's important to add the garam masala now. Once you add the vegetables, because this is a dry dish, it's not going to be homogeneous. So you'll get some bland bites and some over seasoned bites. Once you adjust the seasoning according to your taste, add the vegetables and mix it thoroughly. Let that simmer for a minute and finish it with a tablespoon of butter and some freshly chopped coriander leaves. Butter is optional, you can skip it if you want to keep it vegan. And that's it. And finally, taste it. And like I said, this is a dry dish. If you want more sauce, add more water and simmer it for a few minutes. And needless to say, this is really good. And that's Aloo Gobhi. I took my time to film this. I was talking on phone, watching a movie, and even then, it took me about 1 hour to cook this. So if you can boil the vegetables and cook the sauce at the same time, you can cook this in under 30 minutes. It's very easy, simple, light, and an amazing dish. I boiled the vegetables here. You can roast them if you want. Just a touch of oil, few spices, and roast them at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for 25 or 30 minutes. You'll get roasted aloo gobi, even that is good. And I used butter at the end. Skip it, it's vegan. That's it guys. Try this and comment down below how it turns out for you. If you like the content, please consider subscribing. If you're already subscribed, thank you, and I'll see you next time.